Hi guys, I'm going to discuss the unvarnished truth about males who are falling behind in life today. They most likely are aware of it, but they don't take any action. They are the men who still behave as though they are in their 20s while being in their 30s or early 40s. Despite not making the finest choices, they continue to live in their bubbles. I want these guys to understand that identifying your shortcomings is the first step toward improving your lives. Let's begin. Assume you are 30 years old and make $30,000 annually, which isn't a lot. You believe that ideally, you should be making close to $50,000. You must therefore wake up every day and start living your life with a heightened sense of urgency. You have to start acting as if you're losing. You are sprinting so fast that you cannot walk. You can't even speak. You are not heard in your social group. Then you'd better get going and pick up some knowledge. The first condition is that you work a minimum of 60 hours per week. Nothing less than that. You need to sacrifice your sleep and monetize your minutes, hours, and days, and eventually let time make money for you. Let me reiterate that. If you're behind, you need to be working closer to 80 hours a week rather than just 60. To bring your money up, you need to sacrifice some sleep and work 2 full-time jobs. Otherwise, you won't be able to afford anything. You just cannot enjoy a healthy adult male lifestyle without the sacrifice men have to make to level up financially. Remember, when you build wealth, you automatically improve other areas of your life, perhaps except health at the beginning. But even that is taken care of once you've built a system that works for you. On the other hand, you can continue doing what you're already doing and lead an unhappy life. You can date some women who are of lower quality. You're going to have a bloated life filled with fast food, and it won't be feasible for you to make the necessary progress to catch up. Here is when the self-improvement conversation gets interesting. Because you don't have enough money, you are unable to engage a personal trainer, nutritionist, life coach, image consultant, or any of these professionals. You require a second source of income if you are barely able to pay your bills. I've previously stated that if you're under 40, unmarried, and childless, and you're not putting in at least 60 hours a week of labor, you're lazy. However, if you're in debt, you should be working closer to 80 hours a week. If you work 16-hour days, all you do is sleep and work, sleep and work, sleep and work. What does this mean? Let me explain. You must work extra hard. No excuses. No females and dating. Don't jack off. Do not pursue women and waste the time you'd rather spend making money. Not at all. For at least a year, put yourself in a self-imposed jail to clear your head. You're living a lie if you're still seated at the bar watching the game. Because of this, many men experience depression. Therefore, you put life on overdrive, accept the extra money you earn, and you must intensify your efforts to develop yourself. To boost your income, you must obtain another employment if you have been able to barely get by with just one. Find out what is causing your limits. Employing a life coach or personal trainer might be a good idea if you're feeling stuck in life and out of shape. Use your second job to start improving your life, since you'll perform better once you start appreciating the image you see every day in the mirror. I'm talking about leading a life where you don't need justifications for not making payments. Let's imagine you and your friend visiting a pub. You are aware that you only have $20 with you. You order a round of drinks. You just sit there and nod while your pal promises to pay. That isn't living a true life, in my opinion. You're broke, and no man wants to be in such a scenario. Believe me. You've got to be the man who always pays for all of your buddies without having to worry about money. That's something you should aim for at the very least. Sure, you can say, I guess I'll simply go to work and go home. But as you can see, all you're doing is judging yourself. You are effectively spending your entire life behind bars. Bars that are in your mind. Saying, I'm going to go out and work is preferable, since at least you'll feel satisfied knowing that even if you're fatigued, you're still making money. You must put self-improvement in high gear in your life. There are no excuses, no females. And to top it off, You have to admit to your pals that I am the screw-up and have the highest levels of accountability. You have to say it as it is. Even though I'm 35 years old, I still like a teenager. My closet is like that of a teenager. My income is that of a teenager. I date like I'm in my teens. Due to my lack of abilities, I would not be able to find a new job that paid as much as my current one would if I lost it. I've been living life like a teenager. I'm going to tell you that I've met some guys out there who are decent guys, but don't work and haven't had or worn a suit since high school. And if I ask what's in your closet, the response is nothing. It's one thing to not have the money, but if you have the money and still seem and dress like a boy, you still identify as a boy. If you feel better than the first man because you may have more money, that's okay. But what are you doing with your life if you're not experiencing anything that a teenage male wouldn't have experienced? You must be quite clear on what a 30-year-old man should be like. A man who is 30 years old and a man who is 21 years old ought to be leading separate lifestyles. The man who is 21 years old must be out there looking for it. The 20-year-olds, as well as the 18 to 21-year-olds, should be at spring break parties drinking, chasing skirts, and working out hard. But at 30, I would anticipate that you would have long since outgrown it. Even if you still go out, you avoid the coin beer bars. You won't be visiting the clubs for those above 18. If you're still going out at 30, at least you should be going to the clubs for people aged 25 and above. You should frequent lounges since, at 35, you ought to be past this stage and won't be the old guy in the club. The only way you go to a club like the one I just mentioned at 40 is if you go home for the holidays and run into old buddies. The greatest level of accountability you'll have to admit to certain people in your life is that you're living life on file, which is why you'll need to engage mentors, life coaches, and other professionals. I really want to ask this question. Are you truly capable of managing your life? I mean, ask yourself this. If you weren't, could someone possibly question whether you are truly capable of earning the title of a man? In other words, let's suppose you're a 40-year-old man who has never had a suit, has a job, and is now making ends meet. That's okay. You're holding on. But the purpose of existence is not to simply exist. Life ought to be thriving, right? You are aware of your reluctance to look yourself in the eye, which is why you avoid using a mirror. Competitive men and attractive women don't mind being in the spotlight since it means they are still in the game, even if they lose. Many men use the term introvert these days as complete fiction. Without intending to offend anyone, I'm about to mention that a lot of guys today adopt the introvert label, which was previously only used by losers. This is what a loser was 20 to 30 years ago, and as a result, he's a loser if he works only throughout the day. He goes home after work to his studio apartment. There is nothing else to do, so he turns on the TV. He switches from channel to channel and watches the local programs. While his pizza gets heated in the microwave oven, he grabs a Pepsi and watches his favorite game or the news. He lives on his own. He may own a car, but it's an outdated model with little worth now. If you ask him, was this what you imagined yourself to be as a little boy? Did you anticipate being this when you were 8 years old? Back in the day, such men were labeled losers by us, and they were quite aware that they were in fact losers. So guys, if you're not living your life the way you should be living it, then there is only one thing to do. You must intensify your efforts to better yourself. You must think about multiplying your streams of income, doing your research, and getting on with it. It's very important that during this time, you keep a low profile. You work every waking hour and think about work for the rest of the time. You must do all of this at war footing. If you're in your mid-20s or even early 30s and you're not making the sort of money that you want, and not living the life that you want to live, believe me, it is all possible. It only required consistent and disciplined hard work for you to get through the tough times and build yourself up. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.